Hello friends, welcome to all of you. This is lecture number 2 on molecular fluorescence and phosphorescence spectroscopy. Myself Dr. Venkatesh Gopala, Assistant Professor in Department of Chemistry at Anandibai Raurani Arts, Commerce and Science College by Bhavadi. In our last lecture, we have seen the introduction and the theory of molecular fluorescence and the phosphorus spectroscopy. Also, we have seen the Jablonski diagram of energy levels. In this lecture, we will see the instrumentation for fluorimetry and instrumentation for phosphorimetry, and also the applications of fluorimeter and phosphorimeter. Let's see one by one. Instrumentation for fluorimetry. Fluorescence is the emissions process in which molecule returns to the ground state from excited state of energy level by emitting longer wavelength radiations than the absorbed radiations. This emitted radiation intensity, that is fluorescence intensity, can be measured or recorded using fluorimeter. The fluorimetry is of two types. Let's try to understand the single beam filter fluorimeter. In this instrument, light from a mercury vapor lamp passes through a collimating lens, then into a primary filter. This primary filter allows only ultraviolet light to pass through it, which is coming from mercury lamp, and it absorbs visible light. This primary filter transmits ultraviolet light which enters into the sample holder where it is absorbed by the sample. This absorption is followed by the emission of a visible fluorescence light by the molecules of the sample. The beam emerging from the sample holder contains this fluorescent radiation and the original UV light. This beam emerges from the sample holder at right angles, or you can say at a 90 degree angle to the incident beam as shown in the figure. In the path of emerging beam, the secondary filter is placed which allows only fluorescent radiation to pass through and absorbs all UV light. The fluorescent light passes through the focusing lens and falls on photomultiplier tube and causes to remove the electrons from the photocathode of a PMT, that is a photomultiplier tube. The resulting electric signal is sent to the readout device. In the single beam filter fluorimeter, the primary filter allows only UV light and not the visible light, while the secondary filter allows only the fluorescent radiation and not the UV light. So this is all about a single beam filter fluorimeter. Now we will see the double beam filter fluorimeter. Double beam filter fluorimeter. The fluorescence intensity is proportional to the intensity of irradiation, but due to voltage fluctuations, intensity may give wrong result. Hence, double beam fluorimeter is used. In the double beam filter fluorimeter, the two identical beams coming from the mercury vapor lamp passes into solvent, or you can say the blank, and the sample as shown in the figure. The two beams emerging from the blank and the sample then pass through the common secondary filter which allows only the fluorescent light to pass through it and absorbs all UV light. Emerging light through secondary filter fall on PMT, that is a photomultiplier tube, then produced current is amplified and amplified electric signal is sent to the readout device. These fluorimeters can be used for the sensitive and fast analysis of trace materials in the sample. So this is all about a double beam fluorimeter. Now we will see the instrumentation for phosphorimetry. The phosphorimetry consists of a phosphoroscope which can be distinguished between the fluorescence and phosphorescence. Since compounds which exhibit fluorescence are also possible to show the phosphorescence. This phosphoroscope, which introduces a delay between the time of irradiation of the sample and the observation of phosphorescence. As shown in the figure, the phosphoroscope consists of a hollow cylinder, or you can say the can, having two slits or windows in the circumferences, which are equally spaced. A pair of rotating shutters so arranged that the opening in one is in line with the uncut portion of others. The light coming from the xenon lamp passes into the primary filter, which allows only UV light to pass through it and fall on the sample as shown in the figure. The sample cell is kept in liquid nitrogen, which having the temperature around minus 196 degrees Celsius, which is placed in a specially designed flask that is called as a Dewar flask. After irradiation, the light is cut off using rotating shutter. During this darkening, the fluorescent light is allowed to pass through the second slit into the secondary filter, which allows only visible light to pass through it. The emerged beam is then allowed to fall on PMT, that is a photomultiplier tube, where its intensity is recorded. So this is all about phosphorimetry instrumentation. Now let's see the applications of fluorimetry and phosphorimetry. The first one we will see about fluorimetry. Quantitative analysis. Many inorganic ions form fluorescent chelates with non-fluorescent organic ligands. For example, boron forms the fluorescent complex with benzoin. The estimation is very sensitive and fast and therefore used to estimate the boron traces in steel samples. So this is the qualitative analysis. The next one is a detection of metal ions. In this, the 8-hydroxyquinoline form a fluorescent complex with aluminium, beryllium and zinc ions at different pH values. Ruthenium can be detected in presence of other platinum group metals as it forms strong fluorescent complex with 5-methyl 110 phenanthroline at pH 6. Uranium can be determined by this fluorimetry. Iodide has been detected by the virtue of its ability to decrease the fluorescence. So these are the some applications in the detection of metals by using the fluorimetry. The next application is in organic and biochemical analysis. The vitamin B1 is non-fluorescent, but its oxidation product shows the fluorescence. This property is used to estimate the vitamin B1 in food samples. Many organic compounds such as steroids and enzymes have been analyzed using this fluorescence method. The next application in fluorimetry is a fluorescent indicator. The fluorescent indicators are the substances which shows the fluorescence of a particular color and intensity in a particular pH range. These indicators can be used in the titration of colored solutions in which the change in the color of the indicator at the end of the point get masked by the colors of the reacting species. The next application in fluorimetry is a fluorometric reagent. The fluorometric reagents are the used for a number of cations analysis. For example, 8-hydroxyquinoline is used for the analysis of aluminium and lithium, while benzoin is used for the analysis of zinc. Now let's see the applications for the phosphorimetry. Phosphorimetry has a limited number of applications as compared to fluorimetry. The first one is a detection of a small amount of cocaine, protein in blood serum. Cocaine and atropine are determined in urine sample using phosphorimetry. The next application is a determination of aspirin in blood serum with a high sensitivity. Aspirin is strongly phosphorescent but not fluorescent. Alkaloids like nicotine are rapidly estimated in tobacco after they are separated using thin layer or paper chromatography. So these are the few applications of phosphorimetry. So we have seen in this video the applications of fluorimetry and phosphorimetry, also the instrumentation of fluorimetry and phosphorimetry. The fluorimetry includes the two types of instrumentation, that is a single beam that is a single beam filter and double beam filter. Thank you for watching.